When love feels heavy, silence grows louder than words, and small disagreements turn into big divides. What do you do? In this conversation, we discover practical tools to reconnect, rebuild trust, and bring joy back into your relationship, even when you feel things are hard. Welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. If you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting them down like a banshee on a mission, head over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step to building a business where your clients seek you out rather than you chasing them down. Today, we are chatting with Abhishek. She says tentatively. AJ, as he's better known. Joshi. AJ is a relationship coach and host of the Beyond Obvious podcast. For over 2 years, he's been helping couples set healthy boundaries, communicate effectively, and reignite love when connection feels lost. Inspired by Tony Robbins, AJ spent 4 years studying human behavior before leaving his career as a software engineer at Amazon to follow his passion for coaching. Married for 4.5 years and in a loving relationship for 7, AJ draws from both personal experience and professional expertise to guide couples towards deeper understanding and a more fulfilling relationship. When he's not coaching, he enjoys hiking, exploring business content, and spending time with his wife, family, and friends. Welcome to the show, AJ. It's great to have you here.
It's an absolute pleasure.
So let me ask you the big question. Are you all ready?
Yeah, let's go
Okay.
for it.
What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
Care. And it may seem like a very cheesy, vanilla answer. And let me expand on what I mean by this. A lot of times we get really stuck in our own perspectives. We get stuck thinking about our problems, what we are going through, our pain. Everything becomes about us. And it's so easy. Like it can feel like our problems are the biggest problems in the world. But if you just change perspective, someone else has a harder problem. There's so many mm, incredibly important problems that need to be solved. And when I talk about care, it's not just about people, animals, the environment. Think about from a holistic perspective. And bringing that incredible level of empathy to things changes perspective, changes how you approach things. It changes the person you are trying to be. And when someone ends up knocking your day off, you can probably smile and just have a little bit of empathy for what they're going through.
S- That's so powerful. And caring really begins with communication with yourself and with others in terms of letting them have some space too. And just because they may have said something short to you or cut you off in traffic or whatever it was that you're feeling like you were done to, because we all have those moments where we're just like so caught up in ourselves that it's like
Yeah.
the whole world's revolving around us.
Yeah.
Um, when you can just take a moment and remember that everybody's going through something.
Yeah. Everybody.
So you help people with relationships in terms of committed relationships
Yeah.
to 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 grow them. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So, one of the hardest spaces for a lot of people to be in is relationships. And let me expand on this. The hardest part is because it opens up our most painful wounds. We find someone who we are so intimate with, and inevitably they're going to challenge certain perspectives we have. They're going to challenge our beliefs, they're going to challenge our comfort zone, and it opens up all the wounds we have had. When no one else is there, if you just have friends, if you just have family, you can push them. But when you are in an intimate relationship, you have to be vulnerable or the relationship is going to be in trouble. And when you are vulnerable, it means you're opening up to pain. It means you're trusting this person to say, it's okay. I'll be careful with you, and this is a safe space. And that is such a hard thing for so many people, and naturally. So, the reason I was doing this is very simple. What I've learned on my journey, just share it. Because it's easier when you start working on yourself first. When you start becoming better and you start bringing a better person into the relationship, one of two things will happen. Either your partner is not going to be able to stay in pace with you, and it's just going to drift apart because you are getting better and better and they're not able to keep up with you. Or it'll inspire your partner to start to join your mission, and you're inevitably going to have a better relationship. And so that's the reason I do this. And it's a raw space, it's an emotional space, it's a very vulnerable space. And so I enjoy helping people through that.
I love that. So what's the biggest piece of advice you've heard or tried that didn't work when it comes to relationships?
With relationships, I remember this specific moment. And, you know, there was a family conflict going on without going into too many details. And someone came and told me, just compromise. So just tell them they're right. It's okay. Just sometimes you just need to let it go. And the most fundamental thing I've ever learned, if you want to make your marriage work, you want to make your relationship work, your spouse has to be your number one priority. It doesn't mean everything they say is always right, or you're always with them. No. But in foundation, when it comes to making decisions, when you're one unit, they are the most important thing. As soon as someone starts feeling that you're going to sideline, or your partner starts feeling like you're going to sideline them when tough situations come, things are going to go bad. So if you start prioritizing your work, you start prioritizing other friends, you start prioritizing, other girls in compared to your spouse, or other boys, things are going to go wrong. And you need to understand how to balance this, how to make sure your partner or spouse always feels like they're the most important person in your relationship. Otherwise, they will start adopting behaviors that will not be good for your relationship. That will feel like, okay, I need to compromise. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. To me, compromise is just like it's placating. It's just saying, Yeah, 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 okay, that's fine, honey." Rather than trying to like figure out what exactly are you saying and what are the merits of it and helping them to see things from if you have a different perspective from your perspective also without making them feel like it's an us or them sort of situation. And it's so popular these days. It's like, I am this, and that's what I stand for, and it's all or
Yeah,
nothing. And, if you don't fall into my camp, then you're a terrible, horrible, no good person. Well, nobody's all anything, and people look at things from different perspectives. I can
correct.
share with you a story about my husband. We built a camper out of wood. And it was a great learning experience for us about each other. Um, I learned after 25 years of being married to this man that he looks at things, and we're talking like everything, 180 degrees differently than I do, or at least 90 degrees differently. I, if we're talking about putting something together, he'll say it should go like this, like horizontally. And in my mind, I'm trying to explain something to him vertically. It's just like it's that fundamentally different. So we realized that we had to use a pen and paper if we were going to describe something to each other. And that's how I discovered that whenever I'm talking to him, he'll automatically say, no, it's this. But if I think about it, it's like, yes, it is that. You're just looking at it from like the other side of the equation instead of standing right next to me. It doesn't make him bad. It doesn't make him anything. It's just how it is. But that discovery allowed me to have compassion for him when we have discussions or when he says something that's like, I don't understand what you're talking about. It's like,
Right.
well, if I just look at it from that lens, it's like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with that.
I love that. And something I truly tell people to adopt is a yes and mentality. It's
Hmm.
not that the other person's wrong, they just have a
Yep.
different perspective, right?
Yep.
So let's say you hear your spouse or your partner come and tell you, we should go to the supermarket on Thursday. Instead of saying no, that's a really stupid idea, you can go with, yes, but I have another perspective. Would you like to hear about it? First thing, do they
Mhm.
want it? And then you include them. And if they are willing to take it, especially if it's not a combined thing, if it's just them, give them the ownership of whether they want the other perspective. And that's gone a miles for us.
And you don't have to be in control of everything in a
Right.
relationship. Learning how to say, I have strong opinions about how X, Y, and Z are going to go,
Hmm.
but and if you're coming to me and saying, I think we should do this, if it really isn't something that's life changing, let go of it. Let
Yeah.
them do it however they're going to do it, and don't try to
Yeah.
like micromanage every part of it.
Absolutely.
That goes a
Yeah.
long way in making people
It
feel
goes a
important and
really long
special
way.
and in charge of their own life.
Yeah.
I think it works that way for men and women.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
what do you do differently in your coaching and in terms of you know bypassing some of this advice that we've all heard bantied around? And why does it work, do you think?
I don't do cookie cutter, especially when it comes to relationships. Because relationships, each one is its own unique puzzle. And I'll tell you why this is. When it comes to relationships, you're trying to bring two different perspectives together. And when you bring two different perspectives, it's two different histories that are coming together. And so there are two different sides of wounds, there are two different expectations, there are two different dreams. It's a whole bunch of things that are coming together. So when I work with couples, I have a few fundamental principles that I suggest that everyone should follow. But
Mhm.
beyond that, it's helping one partner heal, helping the other partner heal. And then it's finally just learning how to work together to find a solution. That's all conflict is. Understanding that you have something you're carrying, understanding the other person is carrying something, and then bringing it together. That's the most vanilla solution you'll hear, but we often need to be reminded of the basics than we need to be taught something new.
Yeah. I, I had I had advice from my grandmother many years ago. She was a teenager in 1990 in the 1920s. Um, so that's how far back this goes. She said marriage is a 60-40 proposition and both sides have to give 60. And I've always kept that with me. It's like, yeah, that's you need to be more concerned about the other person in the relationship than you are about yourself. But you do need to know who you are. I don't think relationships are two become one. I think they're two individuals who have a commitment to each other and to a common desire
Yeah,
to
yeah,
further their relationship, but it's not you get codependency happening when you're like, oh, you're the other half of me. And no, honey, you need to stand on your own 2 feet. And
yeah,
usually it's
yeah,
women that are like that. They're just like, I'm just I'm just the pretty half of my husband. No, you need to bring something to the relationship. Otherwise, you're just like you're setting yourself up to for a younger wife because if all he wants is young and pretty, it's all he's going to get.
I would
Partial.
like to just add to something you mentioned with the 60/40 thing.
Mhm.
Just adding on top of that, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was don't measure in relationships. It's never going to be the proportion you expect. There will be times when it will go to 100 and 0 because the other person's, let's say they've lost someone and they're
Oh yeah.
absolutely shattered. And so you have to go to 100 and they are 0. And that's okay. You carry that burden for some time. And it may not be a burden, it's a joy. You're taking care of this other person.
Mm.
And sometimes it's going to be you don't have anything to give to this relationship. And then your partner comes in and fills up and say, I will take care of it. And so the best perspective I ever heard was it's 100. Give your
Yep.
best each day. Give the other, if both of you give your best each day and you're not measuring how much each other is doing,
Yeah.
you are probably 90% better than other couples.
The advice I give my kids is don't push each other's buttons. We all know where those wounds are,
Yeah.
especially in partners.
Yeah.
And you stay away from that, especially when you're fighting or you
Hmm.
have a disagreement.
Right.
And don't go into the victim mode, go into the hero mode where you're going to solve the problem and it's you two together to solve the problem. It's not I'm
Yeah.
the victim in this situation and you always and you never and those are words that do not help
Yeah.
a long-term relationship
Never you do not use the words never and always because it's
because nothing is
impossible.
never always.
Yeah. It's 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 your filters. It's you have deleted, distorted, generalized something.
Be specific and have an outcome in mind when you go
Yeah.
to someone to make things better. I have my husband and I discovered this early on, but and sometimes we want to be in the victim mode. And we'll come to each other and we'll be like, okay, I'm totally going to be, well, it's usually me because my husband is like so easygoing about almost everything in life. Okay, honey, I'm going in the victim mode. I'm feeling this and I'm going to just get it off my chest and then we'll figure out how to solve it. And then I'm not mad about it because I'm recognizing that, hey, I, you're going to say this and it's not going to be all about him. You're just going to have your moment where it's all about you and you can just clear the air. And then he's not going to take it personal because he realizes that you're just getting it out. But then you can address it together and solve the problem rather than wandering around being bitter about it and angry. And he was grating cheese. We grate our own cheese. So he's grating the cheese and he fills the ice trays. He uses most of the cheese and he does use most of the ice in the house.
Hmm.
Um, and so he's like grating the cheese. He said, I'm such a victim here. I always have to grate the cheese. And I was like, yeah, yeah, honey, you are. It's just like, and then you can laugh because it's like, and you always have to fill the ice trays. But it's a reminder that you can make
Yeah.
it funny and you can, but it did make me cognizant of the fact that, most of the time he does grate the cheese and most
Yeah.
of the time he does fill ice trays. So sometimes I make an extra effort to, you know, maybe grate a little more cheese than I need or something so that there's extra left over. I'll just fill that ice tray up randomly.
Yeah. And as you were mentioning the story, something else came up for me. Some of the best couples who work really well together, they have this one quality. They allow repairs in the relationship. And let
Yeah.
me explain what I mean. Let's say you're feeling conflict, you're going through something, and then your partner lends an olive branch. They're like, okay, let's try to make this jovial. Let's shift how we feel. If you keep pushing that away, they're gonna give up. They're gonna it's
Yeah.
always better. Like they don't want to get out of this. But if you just grab onto that and you're like, okay, we don't need to be like this, and you make a joke out of it and you just escape from the pain of it's like incredible.
It's being able to have a continuing relationship and letting it repair. And sometimes in the world where you repair things, where you've repaired it is often stronger than everywhere else. Like if you
Yeah,
glue two pieces of wood together, that joint is stronger than the actual wood outside of the joint. Or when you have
yeah,
a scar on your body, it's stronger
yeah,
than all the other parts of your body, of your
yeah,
skin. So, yeah, you need to let things heal, and then you need to not pick at the scab
yeah,
while it's healing, because
yeah.
that's the other thing. Don't
Hmm.
don't keep revisiting things once they've been settled. Just leave them alone.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about setting boundaries, because I think boundaries are like they're so they're so hip and cool and modern, and yet they're saving relationships all over the place.
Boundaries are, took me a while to learn this. In fact, I grew up in a culture where setting boundaries was not okay, especially as a kid.
Huh?
If you're a person in authority, you can set boundaries. And I had to unlearn that and relearn the power of setting boundaries. Here's the thing about boundaries that most people don't understand. They say, I told him not to do this. I set the boundary and he broke the boundary. No, no, no. A boundary is you say, this is the line, and you set the consequence of what you will do if someone crosses it. So it's not, the ownership is not on them. You own the action of what will happen because otherwise you're not in control. They can always breach it. You're expecting someone to obey your rules. And as humans, we're not great at it. We can forget, we can be in a lot of pain and we decide to cross the line, or, you know, sometimes just shit happens. But if it's a really important boundary for you, you decide what happens after that. And let me give an example. So, one boundary can be, if you yell at me, I immediately leave the room and I'm not going to be talking to you until you calm down. That's not an okay thing for me. The, what's happening here? I am choosing what I will do. And that slight difference, I think, makes a huge, like the amount of margin of change that'll be there is incredible.
Boundaries are for us. It's like apologies or forgiveness.
Yeah.
They're for us. And
Yes.
and we need to decide what our where our fences are, and when we're going to close that gate. And
Yeah.
you're free to have any boundaries you want to have, and decide what you're going to tolerate or not tolerate in relationships, not just with your partner, but with other people too. You can have different boundaries for different types of relationships. Work is another one that, a lot of people just get sucked into. They'll do whatever they're told to do instead
Yeah.
of saying, I have I am going to leave at 5. If you put something on my desk at 5 till 5, it will wait until the morning.
Yeah.
That is just how it is. And if that doesn't work for you, then maybe I'm not the person for this job. But that is my boundary.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell them it's your boundary, but if you let people know, and you don't have to tell them, outright, but sometimes you do, if it's a case of somebody yelling at you, it's like, I don't allow myself to be in situations where people yell at me. So I'll be
Yeah.
back in 5 or 10 minutes, and it'll give you a chance to collect your thoughts, and maybe we can have a conversation after that. Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's all it takes. You don't have to be mean or mad or
Yeah.
have an emotional reaction or anything. It's just like matter of factly, this is the result
And
of
sometimes
that.
boundaries are extremely important to convey how much something means to you. Sometimes people, They don't have your own world perspective. They don't see the world the way you do. So they may not get how important something is until you set a boundary conveying that this is the limit. And I respect this for myself, and I'm not going to let anyone cross that line. And when you do that, I think there's a level of respect that you build for yourself and a level of respect that you command from your partner or from anyone for that perspective.
Kids.
Yeah,
And and the other side of that is respecting other people's
yeah,
boundaries,
yes,
including children.
yeah,
You talked about
I
growing up
agree.
where you weren't allowed to have an opinion or make a decision about things that affected your life and
Yeah.
how you were feeling.
Hmm.
And a lot of people go through that, but I think as people are becoming more aware of setting boundaries and how to have boundaries in their lives, they're teaching their children how to do this too, which is so beautiful. It's like I can respect the boundaries that a child sets for themselves. It's okay.
Yeah,
They're entitled to have opinions about things too.
yeah,
Unless it's like something that's going to radically impact who they are, how they are, and their safety. I- Kids, kids make decisions all the time.
yeah. I'll give an example, just adding on to what you're saying. Let's say you have a kid and you you keep feeding them even after they say no. From your perspective, they should be eating more. What's going to happen eventually is they won't even listen to the no that they tell themselves because the no was never valued. So the no doesn't have any meaning. So even when they want to stop eating, they're like, they don't understand how to listen to that voice anymore. So they continue to eat. And as we know, it could cause health issues much later in life. And that's just one example.
Emotions, same thing.
Yeah.
When you're told that when you never get your emotions validated or your feelings validated as a child, you grow up
Hmm.
and you don't recognize that those feelings are signals. And I think a lot of the illness that we have in the world or the dis-ease that we have in the world is directly related to people not being able to process their emotions properly.
Yeah.
They don't recognize that their body is talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, how do you help other people feel understood? What are some of your strategies around that?
Uh, I cannot recommend this book enough. I think I've recommended it to all the clients I've ever had. It's a book called Never Split the Difference by an FBI hostage negotiator.
Oh,
And the reason that book is so powerful is because FBI hostage negotiators have to always work on the line. They're working with someone who is not in control of their emotions anymore. And they have to have the skill to help someone feel understood because that's what takes the emotional level back into control. That's what creates a level of conversation. And just go read the book. I adopt those strategies today and every single day I possibly can. And they are the most powerful strategies I've read. He has his own company now, the hostage negotiator. He's incredible. So absolute must read. But let me give a simple strategy. Let's say you guys have had a conflict, right? You and your partner, whoever is listening to this. Take some time to cool off and then sit down. Now you want to have a discussion about what happened. When you're speaking to the other person, follow this rule. Let's say your partner says something. You cannot say anything until they are done speaking, and then you have to repeat what they are saying. This is a very simple strategy and that anyone can follow. Repeat until they say, yes, you got it. If they don't approve, you can't step in and give give your opinion. Now, here's what happens. This is a really funny thing. A lot of people, it's because it's so hard to understand what the other person is going, they'll they, in the process of trying to understand the other person, they're like, okay, I don't remember what I wanted to say anymore. And it breaks the pattern of what was going on because you're so held up in your perspective that trying to understand the other person, putting that intense effort, it shakes the tree up, and now you guys are much more in sync.
And you discover things about each other,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the opposite.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's a very simple strategy I feel anyone can adopt.
Yeah, it's so powerful, and I think I'm actually gonna go get that book and read it this weekend.
You must. It's engaging, it's interesting. It's a book on negotiation, but he starts off with helping people understand or helping people feel understood first. And that core component is priceless, according to me.
That's what negotiation is all about. It's
Yes.
coming to an agreement that benefits both sides.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
successful negotiation.
Yeah.
Um, you want that in a marriage,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a long-term
Yeah.
relationship.
You
You just
want a negotiation where both of you feel understood and
Mhm.
both of you can find an answer that works together.
Yeah, and then it does make life a lot more fun together.
Yes. Yes.
So
Makes
you have a is this a quiz? Is this a document? What is the want to know if your marriage can be saved
so a
thing?
lot of people often, when they're on the edge of their marriage, they're really not sure what to like, is this worth moving forward? And so what I did was I created 5 questions, very simple questions, and it'll take less than 5 minutes for them to watch and answer it. And they will understand, okay, should I continue working on this marriage, or does it mean it's time to call it off? And it's simple, it's clear, and anyone can use it to get a clear-cut answer of what they should be doing next.
I love that. I love that. And I'm a big proponent. I've been married for a long time, but if sometimes it's just better to start over
Yeah.
than you've grown apart and it's just not salvageable. And
Hmm.
even if you have kids, it doesn't mean that you can't co-parent. Co-parenting is a big thing these days. And there's ways that you can do it that the kids actually come out stronger
Yeah.
and don't feel like, if you stay in a relationship where you're getting to the point where you're hating the other person,
Yeah.
that does far more damage to your children than splitting up and showing them modeling behavior for them that's like, we just don't work anymore. And it is
Yeah.
not about you, and we all love you, and we're going to work it out in a way that's not going to put you in the middle of this.
Yes.
We just
Yes.
want you to know that you're loved by both of us, and it's just gonna look a little different, and
Otherwise,
these
you
days, so many people are in those situations. Like,
otherwise you convey the wrong message to your kids. You
"Oh,
convey
yeah.
that even when it's not okay, you have to somehow just stick to your marriage, which is the wrong message. You don't want your kids to have this message.
Yeah, and it's not fair to anybody in those kinds of relationships, and it doesn't make anybody a bad person because, the all or never thing applies here too. Nobody's all bad, and nobody's all responsible for a marriage breaking up, it's both of you, and the sooner that you own that, the easier the split will be.
Yeah.
And don't try to take advantage of each other, um, and put the kids first. I
Yeah.
know. Think about them before you think
Yeah.
about yourselves, but, you know, make it make it as amicable as you possibly can and easy as you possibly can on the other person because they're going through a lot at the same time you are. Marriage or divorce is like death. You're you're cutting off a relationship that you've spent a lot of times years cultivating, and for whatever reason, if it's just not working, it's okay,
Yeah.
and you will get through it. And
Yeah,
life is good on the other side.
I agree.
And
I
there's other
agree.
people out there, and maybe that just wasn't the person for you for this season of your life.
I
Because we all
agree.
change,
I
nobody's
agree.
always the same. So, how do people get in contact with you? And I do need to ask you this. Do you work just with couples, and do you work one-on-one with the couples, or do you work in groups? Do you have courses? How
It
does all
depends
that
on their
look?
needs.
Mhm,
So as of now, I am reducing how many couples I'm taking. I'm shifting more into other areas that I'm working with. I'm a life coach as well, so I
mhm.
I switch between the areas I kind of work on. So yeah, I take a variety of couples. If I've had people who are having marriage troubles and I have to work with them alone, I've had couples who I've worked with. So it it's different varieties depending on what the client needs.
Awesome. And so, again, how do they get in touch with you if they're looking for that kind of support?
Yeah. So either they can connect with me on the social media links that you can post at the bottom
Mhm,
of this,
mhm.
or they can send me an email that they'll find when they opt into the website.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me, AJ. This has been a great conversation.
It's been a wonderful pleasure.
To learn more about AJ and to download his uh, free questionnaire, want to know if your marriage can be saved quiz, visit Seva Coaching, SEVA coaching.optins.com/5-QS-save-marriage. And we will be sure to put that in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in today to the U World Order Showcase podcast. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and get visible, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is simple. Head to thecoachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. Be sure to join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.